Picture yourself joining a video call at work. It's your company's chief financial officer. You recognize his face instantly. You know that voice. You've been in a dozen meetings with him. Around him on the call are several of your colleagues. Familiar faces, all nodding along. The CFO explains there's a confidential deal happening, it's urgent, and he needs you to move some money to close it. You can see him. You can hear him. He's looking right at you, answering your questions in real time. So you do what he asks, and over the course of the operation, you transfer the equivalent of $25 million. And then, days later, you find out the truth that turns your stomach. The CFO was not on that call. Neither were your colleagues. Not one single person you saw and heard in that meeting was real. Every face, every voice, every response was an artificial fake, generated by AI, puppeteering the likenesses of real people while you, the only actual human in the entire meeting, did exactly what the machines told you to do. This is not a hypothetical. A version of this really happened to a worker at a major global firm. And it should terrify you, because it quietly shattered the one rule we've all trusted our whole lives. That if you can see someone and hear them, they must be real. Here's what makes this case so important. The victim was not careless. In fact, he did exactly what you're supposed to do. It started, as these things often do, with a message. He received a request, supposedly from the company's chief financial officer, based in another country, about a secret transaction that needed to be handled quietly. And his first reaction was the correct one: suspicion. It had the classic fingerprints of a phishing scam. Money, urgency, secrecy, an executive he didn't deal with every day. A part of his brain said, "This feels like fraud." If the story ended there, it would be a story about a scam that failed, and you'd never have heard of it. But the criminals were ready for exactly that doubt. They anticipated that a well-trained employee would hesitate, and so they had built something specifically designed to demolish that hesitation, to take his very reasonable suspicion and melt it away with the most convincing form of proof a human being knows. They invited him to a video call, because they knew that once he could see the faces and hear the voices, his doubt didn't stand a chance. And this is the heart of it, the moment everything turned. He joins the call, and there they are, the CFO, other members of staff he recognized. Real-looking, real-sounding people moving and talking on his screen exactly like they always did. Think about what that does to a suspicious mind. Every doubt he had was built on the possibility that the emails were fake, that someone was hiding behind text. But you can fake an email. You can't fake a person's face and voice live on a call, right? That's the assumption every one of us carries. So the moment he saw them, his internal alarm switched off. Of course it did. His whole life, seeing someone's face and hearing their voice in real time has been the ultimate proof of reality. It's how we've verified each other for as long as humans have existed. The scammers weren't really stealing his money in that moment. They were stealing his certainty, hijacking the deepest instinct we have, the one that says my own eyes and ears don't lie. And once that instinct was turned against him, the rest was just paperwork. Convinced now, genuinely, completely convinced that he had just taken orders directly from his own leadership, he did as he was told. He made the transfers, not one, but a series of them, moving staggering sums out of the company, all while believing he was simply doing his job under the direct supervision of executives he trusted. By the time it was over, around $25 million was gone. And here's the detail that should stay with you. At no point during the act did it feel like a scam. It didn't feel like clicking a shady link or wiring money to a stranger. It felt like a normal, if high-pressure, day at work, carried out under the watchful eyes of his bosses. The horror only arrived afterward, when he checked with the company through normal channels and discovered that the meeting had never happened. The people on that call had no idea their faces had even been used. He had been alone the entire time, in a room full of ghosts wearing the faces of his coworkers, and the money was already gone, scattered through accounts, effectively unrecoverable. So how is this even possible? How How do you build a fake person convincing enough to fool someone who knows the real one? The unsettling answer is that the raw material is just lying around. To create a convincing deepfake of an executive, you often don't need secret access to anything. Senior business people leave a huge public trail. Interviews, conference talks, earnings calls, promotional videos, podcasts. Hours of high-quality footage of their face from every angle, and their voice saying thousands of words. That is exactly the fuel these AI models feed on. You gather that public footage, you train a model on it, and the system learns to generate that person's face and voice on demand, mapping their likeness onto a performance in something close to real time. Feed it a script or even a live puppeteer, and out comes the executive, blinking, speaking, reacting. The technology that was, just a few years ago, the stuff of research labs and blockbuster films is now accessible enough to be turned into a crime kit. And the more visible and powerful a person is, the more footage of them exists in public, the easier they are to fake. The very prominence that makes an executive an authority is what makes them a perfect mask. Now let's zoom out, because this is about far more than one company losing money. For your entire life, for all of human history, really, a live moving image of a person's face and the sound of their voice has been treated as proof. Proof that they're real, proof that they're present, proof of who is speaking. Our brains are wired to accept it almost without question. A face is the most trusted signal we have. This case is an early, brutal demonstration that this proof is now breakable. The thing you have relied on your whole life to know who you're really talking to can be manufactured. And it's not just corporate finance. Think about a phone call from a loved one's number, in their exact voice, begging for emergency money. Think about a video message from a person of authority telling you to do something urgent. The same technology pointed at ordinary people. We are entering a period where I saw it with my own eyes, and I heard their voice are no longer, on their own, enough. That is a genuinely disorienting shift in how the world works. And most people have no idea it has already begun. So what actually protects you in a world where a face and a voice can lie? The answer is almost boringly simple, and that's the good news. It doesn't require any technology at all. It's a habit. The scam works by keeping you inside a single channel of communication that the attacker controls, the call they set up, the message they sent. The defense is to step outside it. Whenever there is money, urgency, and secrecy in the same request, those three together are the red flag. You do not verify it using the channel the request came in on. You verify it independently. You hang up, and you call the person back on a number you already know is theirs. You message them on a separate app. You walk to their office. You confirm through a route the scammer has no control over. Real leadership asking for a real transfer will never be harmed by you taking 10 minutes to confirm through a trusted channel. A scammer, on the other hand, cannot survive it. Agree on a verbal code word with your family for emergencies. Build a culture at work where verifying a big payment is seen as diligent, not insulting. Because the one thing all of this comes down to is this: the deepfake can copy a face and steal a voice, but it cannot answer a phone number it doesn't control. So I'll leave you with the question that matters now. In a world where your own eyes can be fooled, what will you trust instead? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one.